Vale, mira, presento a la señora Hana Mayerova, que nos explicará una realidad un poco diferente. Hemos podido ver hasta ahora, escuchar un par de presentaciones a un zoom muy a nivel de procesos de implementación de quemas prescritas en la península ibérica. Hemos visto ahora con esta presentación una visión mucho más global, pero las tres han sido siempre desde la perspectiva y la realidad de los grandes incendios y con el reto de la extinción y la gestión de los grandes incendios. Ahora veremos un caso práctico de una realidad del centro de Europa, o sea que hacemos otro salto. Tenemos hoy la suerte de poder conocer muchas experiencias y un caso concreto de aplicación para temas de conservación de hábitat.
Thank you for the introduction. I want to talk here about prescribed burning on heathlands with military history in the Czech Republic. I'm from the Nature Conservation Agency of the Czech Republic, and after the last talk you'll definitely have the feeling that it's a very small scale thing I'll be talking about, but we have to start somewhere. So here you see the map, it's the Czech Republic, and we are working in the protected landscape area Brdy. It's the newest protected landscape area in the Czech Republic. It's located in central Bohemia. And it's a very special area in the Czech Republic because it has been used for almost 9 decades as a military training area. As a result, it's different from the surrounding landscape. It's a mostly forested area. More than 80% of the area are spruce forests. But it has also several important patches of open landscape. These patches are target areas that are a result of artillery shooting and have been deforested in the 1920s. Here you can see them on the map of the PLA. These 3 large open land areas have formed heathlands on them during the years of military use and training. Originally, each of them had about 400 hectares. During the years, with some gradual decrease in training, now we have a remaining area of open land, about 200 hectares on each side, that host heathlands that are quite unique in the Czech Republic because it's not a dominant or a frequent type of habitat. And it's definitely a man-made habitat in the Czech Republic because the successional climax would be a forested landscape. So these ecosystems are dominated by heather with a lot of Vaccinium species. Due to the fact that they are on acidic rocks with low fertility, they are rather species poor, but they have a national significance. Well, heather needs some disturbance for successful establishment, both with seedlings. Also, it needs some impulses for regeneration. Otherwise, in the course of several decades, the heath will degenerate and the ecosystem will transform into a forest. So why did it not happen before? Because there was some military management. We can call it management now, but it was just a side effect of the shooting. There were very frequent fires on the heathlands. Here you can see the frequency or the number of fires in different months in the year. What I want you to note here is that most of the fires were in the spring. It coincides both with the military training schedules and also with the right combination of temperatures and humidities and when the vegetation just burned. Now, as the military abandoned the area and now it's our task as nature conservation to preserve the ecosystems, we have several options how to manage the area. It's complicated due to remaining explosive loads from the training, so it's not possible to treat the area as a normal landscape. Also, due to low fertility, it is not suitable for grazing. It is possible to do some trees cutting and shrubs cutting there, if coordinated with the military, it would be possible to do some land disturbances. But what is the most natural form of management here? It's prescribed burning. Unfortunately, it is at the moment complicated in the Czech Republic because setting fires is forbidden by several laws. Law for nature protection, forests, and also fire protection. And the only option how to do a prescribed burning is to do it as a fire drill, a fire exercise for firefighters. Here we had the advantage that with the cease of military use, the area came under the protection of civilian firefighters who had to make themselves comfortable with the area to get to know how to work there. So we organized together a fire drill last May. It was on the target area Jordan. The total area of prescribed burning was 1 hectare, and the total number of firefighters involved was 200. Yes, it's a lot of people for a very small area, but it was a practice, and the people were there just to look at the fire and to see how the fire behaves and to get to know the behavior and to see it for the future. We chose 2 separate sites that were surrounded by roads to keep the fire contained. And I hope the video works here. No. So I'll just jump out of it because it would be really a shame if you didn't see that. So this is a video from the fire drill. Here you can get some feel of the area and how it looks. And there is a moment I want you to note. And this is the moment, that's the ignition on one of the plots. This is the plot burning. And I'll let you enjoy it and then I'll talk a little bit more. So, what I wanted you to note was the moment of the ignition, and that was important because, as I said, there are explosive loads on the area, so it's not safe for the firemen to be right next to the fire. So it was devised so that the combustibles were placed on the top of the vegetation and then they were ignited from a distance at once for the whole patch, because we wanted to patch the burn very quickly and from the top, so the ground would not get heated and there would be a minimal risk of some explosion. The results show that we managed that because the high temperatures were there just for a few minutes, and the temperatures in the soil did not exceed something that you could expect on a hot summer day, and deeper in the soil the temperatures were not even rising. Here, a nice proof is the bumblebee that went out of the ground just a few minutes after the fire. Also, we were confronted with the idea that we are killing animals and destroying their homes if we are just doing a prescribed burning in the spring. Well, we observed that the animals, some of them really like the burned patches. These are just some illustration pictures from 2 days after the fire. So we really concluded that the burning done in the way that it was very fast and not really severe, but it removed all the vegetation and that's what we needed. We looked at the vegetation more closely. We collected some vegetation samples in 2016 on the patches that were burned and also on some older fires that we located by using aerial photography and some old fire records. And on the total of 25 plots, we got data from fires almost 15 years old. And here, this is just a simple graph, but it shows two important things that we want to stress. The first one is that even if a few weeks or months after the fire, it seems that grasses and ferns are much faster resprouters than the target species, Calona and Vaccinium, then they will, in the long run, dominate. And also, the second thing is that at some point, I don't know, 10 to 15 years after fire, mosses cover starts to grow, and it may be it limits resprouting of the heath, and then the heathland starts to degenerate. Now, some experiences for the future is that we need to maintain a road network there to make, to divide the target areas into some manageable patches, because otherwise it's too large an area to burn it all at once, and it's very near the forest. Also, there are some important technical issues how to keep the fire contained without letting the firefighters too close because of the explosive load. And then we also need the laws to change so we can continue prescribed burning on a regular basis. This is just an illustration picture. 2 months after the fire, already the vegetation is resprouting. I want to thank everyone that was involved in the project, and thank you for your attention.
Muchas gracias, Hana. Thank you so much. Turno para un par de preguntas. Una pregunta.
Michael Bruce from Scotland. We do a lot of burning like that. Just one question. If the objective was to remove the trees, it seemed like you actually had an ignition pattern which lowered the fire intensity. So you didn't have much of a head fire, which should have, gone through and had more impact on the trees.
Yeah, well, removing the trees would be a nice benefit, but we were much more afraid of really letting the fire be too hot and setting some of the explosives than really destroying all the trees. The trees can be cut down afterwards or before, or in a separate management plan.